Welcome back to our Stewardship Basic Bible Study. I am Pastor Wright, and we're going to continue with Lesson 3. We only have one question, and it's question 6, but it's broken up into several parts. And it's all about Genesis chapter 3, verses 8 through 24. And to just remind you of what that says, we have, "And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, 'Where are you?' And he said, 'I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself.' And he said, 'Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?' The man said, 'The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate.' Then the Lord God said to the woman, 'What is this that you have done?' The woman said, 'The serpent deceived me, and I ate.' The Lord God said to the serpent, 'Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock, and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel.' To the woman he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. And to Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. The man called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all the living. And the Lord God made for Adam and his wife garments of skin and clothed them. Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. He drove out the man at the east of the Garden of Eden. He placed the cherubim and a flaming sword that turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. So again, that's Genesis chapter 3, verses 8 through 24. And the first question, question 6, what are the 3 broken relationships that came as a result of this stewardship crisis? And that's a great question. So we hear, as we have already discussed, that God is the owner of the Garden of Eden and all of creation, of Adam, of Eve, of you and I. And we have been made to be stewards of God's creation. So in the Genesis account, Genesis 3, what relationships were broken? And what do we do about this? So question 6a, the broken relationship, number 1, is with God. And I love this because we see that Adam and Eve partook of the forbidden fruit, and their eyes were open and they saw that they were naked, and they tried to clothe themselves with fig leaves, making loincloths for themselves. And they hid when they heard the sound of God in the cool of the evening. And we hear God, where are you? And I think this is such a deep question, because this isn't God looking and saying, oh, I can't see you, I can't find you. He's saying, where are you in our relationship? This has changed. And so the anthropomorphic, which means the human description implied or put upon God, is that he was walking in the garden, suggests that the enjoyment of fellowship between him and our first parents, Adam and Eve. In chapter 3, verse 8, we see that something happens. We see that Adam and Eve are afraid of God. That relationship is broken. I was afraid, so I hid. The first broken relationship is with God. They no longer have this perfect harmony with God. They no longer have the ability to fulfill, understand, and relate to God. They hide to take matters into their own hands, as they did with eating of the forbidden fruit. And so this is, again, huge. So the stewardship crisis causes a crisis in relationship with God. There is now a wedge between us and God. And of course, it's sin, it's rebellion, and we no longer follow God as we should. Okay, so then 6b, the next relationship, the broken relationship between man and woman. In Genesis 3:12 serves as a clear illustration of the rift that now exists not just between creature and creator, but also the rift between the members of the crown of creation, people, humans. The man blames the woman directly and God by default. And I love this. Adam is hiding from God. Where are you? I was afraid because I was naked. Who told you you were naked? Did you eat of the fruit of the tree that I told you not to? And notice Adam doesn't miss a beat. The woman gave it to me. The woman you gave me. So he passes the blame immediately. It's not my fault. It's the woman's fault. And it's your fault because you made the woman. And so now, that causes strife, tension. And that is truly a broken relationship because Adam and Eve were created in perfection to have a perfect relationship. And we see how long that lasts because Adam blames Eve and doesn't take responsibility, doesn't stand up, doesn't do what he was commanded to do, but fully blames Eve and, as the Bible study says, by default, God. And again, it's your fault. You made her. You gave her to me. Again, that's huge on so many levels. And then C, the last broken relationship, the broken relationship between man and creation. And I've asked this question in various Bible classes. In the Garden of Eden, Adam was placed in the Garden of Eden to care for it. It's a perfect garden. There's no weeds, there's no thistles, there's no thorns. But Adam was given the responsibility to care for creation. Now that corruption has come in and we hear God cursing creation because of the work of Adam or because of his rebellious act of partaking of the forbidden fruit, that he will now have to work for his food. He will have to fight the weeds. He will have to fight the thorns and the thistles. And he is not promised the fruits of his labor, the fruits of the earth. It is corrupted. There's no longer the perfect harmony. And I've made this statement, and I actually believe it, and it's my opinion. But Adam and Eve just had to hold out their hand, and the fruits and vegetables were ready for the picking, ready to sustain them, because everything was perfect. Now they have to work. They have to till the ground. They have to water. They have to care for creation on a level that wasn't there in the Garden of Eden in perfection. So the three broken relationships are man and God, man and wife, or man and man, or interpersonal relation, and then man and creation. And all of this has been broken by the lack of stewardship. And I like what the Bible study says, the stewardship crisis. And so we live in this, but we are not left without hope. And we will discuss that in further lessons. Well, if you have any questions or any thoughts, or you would like to continue this discussion, please reach out to me. I hope this is a blessing to you, and I'm enjoying this. And I hope as we continue to grow and learn, that we find ways to be better stewards of the gifts that God has given to us. God's peace and blessings be upon you.